Hi, it's Simon Pink from Poppyland Radio. I'm joined by my special guest, Mr. Alan Fish, who knows just about everyone there is to know within music. We've talked about all the bands that he's played with, all the famous celebs he's played with. He's certainly been around. But I want to talk more about what you're doing at the moment and the band that you're in at the moment. So tell us a little bit about how it was formed, who's in it, and what you're actually doing, Alan.
What happened in the early 80s, I'd sort of been with the Groundhogs for quite a while, and Tony McPhee, he unfortunately had a bit of a stroke, a minor one at the time, and he called me up and said, would you like to get a band together, with me again, and do you have anyone in mind for drummers or as a second guitarist? And at the time, there was one or two other drummers that had been playing with us in the past, in the previous few years. But that time I then formed Egypt with Eric and a different drummer from Gibraltar, another Peter, and we had a separate singer. And that wasn't going too well. The vocals didn't work out that well. But Eric came along as a second guitarist, and Peter came along. That's right, the new Peter. So we did a tour around Italy, Germany with him, carried on for quite a few years like that. But I think after a while, I wanted to do more with the band Egypt, who I then formed, and the record company got in touch and said, we'd like you to do an album, this, that, and the other. So I sort of left the Groundhogs as such then. Eric carried on playing on bass for a couple of years after I left. Egypt was still going in the meantime as a separate thing when Tony wasn't touring. So I think what happened at the time then, I think Eric and Peter did an album called Wolf in Hog's Clothing with all Muddy Waters numbers, the Howling Wolf numbers, and then Tony decided to call it a day again, which he'd done a few times, and we carried on full time with Egypt from about 1987, 88, getting on for 1990, and we've been ever since then playing with Egypt non-stop.
Geez, it's been sort of 25 years almost that you guys have been together. You've had some albums out. Tell us about the albums that you've released.
Well, the first one was with a separate singer, Riker, and that was quite a heavy sort of thrash metal almost. It's just called Egypt, and wrote a lot of the songs on there. In fact, some of the songs on there I'd written when I was with a band called Tradiga, who were the guys who were previously Budgie. So that's one of another band I name dropped,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was quite successful, was EMI. But then the vocalist left. We decided we wanted to go back to more bluesy stuff. That's what Eric liked playing as well. So we carried on as a three-piece, which the first album as a three-piece was called Preserving the Dead. Some of the old classics on there, like Baby Please Don't Go and things like that. But that was mostly our own numbers. And then after that, the next one we did was Midnight Sun. That's did very, very well. And also, what's the next one? Blues Kerosene. That's the latest studio album. Say latest, about 5 years, 6 years old. And a live one that we recorded in Jena when we were in Germany, sort of live in Jena. So they're all the ones we got at the moment.
Fantastic stuff. Now, have you got any gigs that are local around Norfolk, Suffolk, anywhere local that you can tell us about, Alan, over the next year or so?
Well, the only things we've got are a few local ones, as you say, because we haven't played anything for nearly 2 years or more. And unfortunately, Eric got this long-term COVID, which seemed to be getting in the way of everything. So we did have to cancel a couple of gigs earlier this year. So I'm just now looking up the gig list while I'm talking to you. So we've got just local ones booked throughout the year. We have just joined a new agency, which is an international agency, and they sort of specialise, I suppose, in festivals. They've got an office in America and one in England. They've got quite a few different ones in different countries. So they're planning on things really for next year. And but the only ones we've got I'm just looking at it now. I think it's loading. We've got one at the end of this month. Here we are. In where are we? The Maid's Head in Norwich, which is a guy who runs that as an old friend, and he loves the groundhog. So consequently, we do that one. That's on May the 27th. We just got the one in Aylsham on the June the 17th, and then we're at the Deer and Blues Festival in July. I think you do that one yourself, don't you, Simon? Sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's yeah, we got one there. Another one called Bar 29 in Burnham Market. It's a very nice gig, that is. We've been doing that one. Again, they're very a lot of Groundhogs fans go to that. The other one is our regular local one at the Walnut Tree Shades in Norwich. That's July.
Hooray.
And then we've got one that was previously the Nantwich Blues Festival, but I think it's now been moved to Llandudno. That's in August. Then we've got the Harbour Rooms in Blakeney in September, and then start the rounds again with the usual ones: Walnut Tree, Aylsham, and Burnham Market. And then we've got one at a place called Blues at Barleyland. That's in November. That's a very, very good blues venue, and that's on a Saturday afternoon. It's very, very full.
If people want to find out where you are, Alan, is there a website address, or is there somewhere they can go to see where you're playing?
Yeah. Well, we got the Facebook page, but also our main web page is www.egypt-blues, so Egypt-blues.co.uk, and all the gigs are on there. It's updated regularly, so that'd be a good place to look for things.
Brilliant. Okay, I'll keep an eye on that. Egypt, that's EGYPT.
EGYPT.
That's right. I always get that wrong. -blues.co.uk. I will go on that. I shall find it gigs. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to try and play some of your songs. Here's an Egypt track we're going to play. Thanks, Alan.
Okay.